Hey guys and girls, how's it going? And welcome back to another episode of FTB Infinity with myself, Lewis. Hope you're really having yourself a great day, as always. Now, before we get into today's episode, I thought I would say thank you guys that we hit 50,000 subscribers. It's a massive deal to me, and I'm very much impressed. And without you, we would never be able to do this. So, many congratulations. Yes. Now, for the 50k, we're going to be doing a Q&A, and I've mentioned this in my other two episodes for Regrowth and Hexit. If you'd like to have any of your questions answered, then please put them in the comment section, and I will read them in there, and then we'll try and make our way through as many as we can in the Q&A. I'm probably going to tally them all up and do it in the next few days. Although, if you've already placed any of your questions on any of the previous videos, please don't do it again on this one, because it makes it a little bit harder for me to go through and tally them all up and, you know, take names and things like that. So if you've already placed it on any of the other two, don't worry, they're going to be read, but try not to do it on this one. But if you haven't, obviously, if you don't watch any of those two episodes and you only watch this series, then make sure to pop it in the comment section. We'll try and get through as many of those as we possibly can, so expect that in a couple of days. But again, thank you very much, guys, for letting me hit 50,000 subscribers. Without you, I would have never been able to do it, so give yourselves a very big pat on the back. Cool beans. And you're probably thinking, why is there a big old hole right there where you had a crafting table? Well, I had an ingeniously stupid idea. And, you know, sometimes if you don't try things, you're never going to know, are you? So I tried to paint. I wanted to see if I could paint a crafting table. And the answer is no. We can't do that. So, what have we done between this and the last episode? Well, I've been working on setting up an ender quarry, which I'm going to show you right now. If we take our way over to the nether, and you're probably thinking, why are you doing it in the nether? Well, I'm basically doing this just to get draconium. That's the only thing I'm after. And you'll see we're on the roof of the nether as well. A good thing with having Barns aplenty installed means that the nether roof is breached very easily through these plants. You can see here we have all these plants, and basically if you dig down, you can... they're everywhere, like you find them all over the place. So all you got to do is dig from the nether up until you hit bedrock, and then kind of look around and you'll find these guys everywhere, and then you can just make your way onto the roof of the nether. But the good thing with this is, unlike a buildcraft quarry, this guy is still going to function up on the roof of the nether, because it doesn't actually dig, it looks at blocks and replaces. That's kind of how it works. Now, I have put some upgrades on this, but they're not great upgrades, but I haven't really got the power sorted out just yet, but we should have that sorted out by the end of today's episode. So we have one here for a speed upgrade and one here for a fortune upgrade, hopefully to help out with getting more draconium. I don't know if draconium is affected by fortune. I haven't tried collecting any of it with a fortune pick, but it does drop like, you know, kind of like lapis, doesn't it? So I'm guessing it would work. I don't know. But we got that going in there. We got bits going in here, rubbish going in the bin. And that's doing its thing. I set this up with ender markers, which is a lot easier than using the fences. A little bit more expensive, though, because you have to make the ender markers in the QED system. But these are basically identical to the buildcraft markers. So you set them down, and you can see that they know where they're going because of this little thing. That means you've got one in the right direction. So if we went over here, you'd see that we have another ender marker here. And this will be focusing in those directions, like that. Yeah. So when you do the fences, you have to have the quarry a part of the fence line. When you do ender markers, you don't. So you make sure that the quarry is off the side like that. And obviously remember that when you set this up, that you want to make sure that all of your stuff here is inside one chunk. You can see if I do this, this is all inside this one chunk, which means it's going to stay loaded. Because the good thing with ender quarries, if you didn't already know this, is ender quarries won't load the whole area that they're digging out. So we're digging out a 64 by 64 exactly. The ender quarries will only load the chunk that the quarry is in and the chunk that it's currently mining, which makes them great for servers because you're not loading an entire area, you're only loading two chunks, which is much less than a buildcraft quarry if you want to use, you know, if you want to make a big buildcraft quarry. And plus being modular and being able to add all of these additional parts onto it is very handy. We can obviously add more than these. There are loads of upgrades that you can have for the ender quarry. If we have a look in here, we've got ones for the quarry base upgrades. We need these for these anyway. We have the wild hole upgrade. We have the silk touch, fortune 2. It's a fortune 3, but that's mega expensive. Well, it's not that expensive, but it takes times 80 power drain, and we're not giving it enough power yet. Otherwise, it's going to be working very slow. We also have the speed upgrades, and we have the pump upgrade, so that if it comes in contact with any liquids, it's not going to slow it down like it would the Buildcraft Quarry, but if you had a pump upgrade, it would actually pump out the liquid as well as the blocks that you're collecting, so it's pretty handy, I think. That's quite nice. Now, let's have a little looky-see over at the Borg Cube, because I've made an area over here where we're going to be setting something up very cool today, I think. I've never done this in one of our series before. I've done it in a test world, but I've never done it in a actual series. So I've made a room just here. It's not finished at all, but it's kind of getting there. I've also set this up with a few tesseracts. I've got a few tesseracts ready for today as well, but these are basically pumping in stuff from our overworld where we've got all of our Yellorium, which is good. Now, this is the room that I've set up. It's not complete by any means. I've got a lot of work that I want to do on this to make it look funky. But we're going to be setting up a Draconium power storage unit, and it's going to look amazing. I think we're only probably going to be able to do a tier 1 today, maybe a tier 2. We'll see how much Draconium we actually have, but I think it's going to look pretty cool if you ask me. So let's make our way back over. I think I should... I can't change these just yet because I teleport over here, don't I? I'm going to have to set the book closer inside the cube very soon, because there's no need to have that platform there anymore now that the cube has been created. So, first thing we're going to do is we're going to use a little bit of Draconium to make something that's going to be very handy to us. Now, you can obviously go look at all the wikis and whatnot, but I like kind of having these little books. Now, it's going to use 4 pieces of our Draconium, but I think it's going to be worth it. So, if we do this, it's not going to give us. Instantly forgot the recipe. Let's have a look. Draconic evolution. We want to get ourselves a book. Here we go, Draconium slate. It's stone around. Oh, there we go. Alright, so we want to get ourselves some building materials, and we're going to want some stone. We'll get 8 bits of stone. There we go. That's good, actually, because that means we only need 1 piece of Draconium. We do that. I don't know where I got that last recipe from. There we go. So now that we have this, we can start reading up on Draconium knowledge. It has a fairly decent amount of stuff that you can be reading up on. The one thing that we do want to look at, though, is energy storage multi-blocks. And this is what it's going to look like eventually. Pretty amazing, right? I love it. The energy core is a multi-block structure that is capable of storing immense amounts of RF power, using the energy storage capabilities of Draconium and Redstone. The energy core has 7 tiers, each capable of storing considerably more than the last. To build it, you will need 5 different components. An energy core, particle generators times 4, redstone blocks, number depends on tier, Draconium blocks, number depends on tier, and energy pylons times 2+. So we would obviously have 1 energy pylon to pump in and 1 energy pylon to pump out power. That's how it's going to work. So first thing we need to do is we need to get an energy core, and we need 4 particle generators before we can do this. So let's have a look at what we're going to need to craft this, and they are not cheap by any stretch of the imagination. So the first thing is the Wyvern core, and for this we're going to need 4 of the Draconic cores, which is going to mean loads of this Draconium. Now to make Draconium, we're going to need to smelt our Draconium blend, which I believe is iron and Draconic dust. I think this is probably where I got the recipe from. Because we do this, and it gives us Draconium blend. And then with this blend, you can see we're not getting a great deal from this. Although I do have... Actually, we got enough there to make another one, haven't we? Yeah, let's do that. There we go. Cool. We get 2 Draconic ingots from smelting this up, which is handy. I wonder if we can actually get any more. No, doesn't look like it. I have already got myself 21 ingots, which is very handy though, so that's going to be useful. But let's pop you in there, and we'll start doing that, and we'll get all that good stuff. Now, we're going to want 4 of these guys, aren't we? So we're going to want Draconium. We're going to want... Did I see gold in that recipe? In the recipe? I did. So we're going to want gold. And we're also going to want diamonds. Yes, this is very late game storage, but it's fairly good. So we'll grab 4 of you, which is going to allow us to make our core, and we need a nether star and 4 more ingots. So let's go get some nether stars. We're going to need a fairly decent amount of nether stars for today's episode. I've got 9. If we need any more, I can go and get the wither guy doing his thing. So there is that. Poof. There we go. And this is kind of the one thing you need for a lot of the higher tier recipes, especially when you start getting into stuff like the Draconic weapons and utensils. These guys here need a way of being able to do awakenings, which we'll get into at some point, but not yet. Now, the more we got this, let's have a look at the rest of the bit. So we need the energy cores, which are another 2 of these. So let's have a look. See how many ingots we've got. Actually, did I set this up? I don't think I set that up to output that way. So I think they would be, yeah, they're in here, aren't they? There we go. Oh, I need to do the stuff for the nether quartz, so I forgot about that. I got stuff going all over the place, but I can't remember where half the stuff actually goes. Alright, so we've got 13 bits there, plus another 4 draconium there, which gives us another 2 ingots, which is mighty handy. And we're going to need another 2 of these. I don't actually know if we're going to have enough stuff. I might have to take a break and get more of these. We're also going to need a block of redstone, plus 4 of those and 5 of those. So let's get another lot of you cooking up. There we go. And what else did we need? Redstone. Let's take a stack. There we go. A lot of the stuff in this requires blocks of redstone, so I'm just going to take 7 for now. Poof. It gives us a Wyvern energy core. And now we need another one of these, which means we need 1, 2, 3, 4. We need 4 of those. We need another lot of you. There we go. Cool, cool. And we need more of the draconium. So we need 2, 3. I think I'm going to have to do a little cut, guys. Because we're going to need more draconium. So I'm going to go have a fly around the nether, see if I can get myself some while the quarry does its thing. And we will be right back. Alrighty then, so we're back, and I've made a few bits. I've actually been gone for a fairly long time. It's been a lot longer than I thought it would be. But I've made 4 of the particle generators, and the energy core, plus 2 of the draconic cores, which we're going to need in a minute. Now, we are going to need some emeralds, and let's have a looky-see inside here. We're going to need 2. Oh yes, we've literally just got enough. I was like, oh no, don't say I haven't got enough for that. We're good. So I need 1 of you, and we're going to need some diamonds, some draconium, so poof. So some energy pylons, and these should be what is needed to pull and send in our power. So we can use this in and out. So that should come in handy. Now let's have a quick look in the book to see if we can make a tier 2. I don't think we can. I think we need more draconium, and I am basically all out at the minute. So let's have a look. So energy storage. So I know about all this. That's fine. So tier 1. Let's have a look. Redstone is 0. Capacity 45.5 million RF. So I'm pretty sure for a tier 1 or a tier 0, that's the one, yeah. Tier 0 can hold 45.5 million RF. So just shy of a Ender energy cube, I think. And then a tier 1 requires 6 blocks of draconium to allow it to hold 273 million RF. And at the minute, I don't think we've got anywhere near that amount. I've got 8 bits, which is a little way off. Let's have a look. Draconium blocks require... Oh, they are just 9 bits. Okay, all right, we can't do that yet. But let me show you the kind of power that we can get out of this eventually. So, a tier 2 can hold 1.64 billion. A tier 3, 9.88 billion. 59.3 billion for a tier 4. A tier 5, 356 billion RF. And all the way up to 2.14 trillion RF with a tier 6. Requires 328 redstone and 218 draconium. It's a fair bit, isn't it? It's probably more than 10, give you that. And then we look at how we pull and give power. So we should be fairly ready for that. I'm going to need to get myself... Let's have a look. Building. We're going to need some glass. Actually, I'm going to need a little bit more than that, aren't I? Yeah, we're going to need a few bits of glass, so you can go in there. And let's quickly cook this up. So I want a little bit of glass. There we go. We only need 2 bits, I think. Yeah. And I'm also thinking of changing around how it's structured in there, so I'm going to get out a little bit of cobblestone as well. Because I don't mind how it looks at the minute, but I think I kind of changed my mind while I was off doing my diggings. So, now that we've got all of this, we should be set, hopefully. I think. The particle generators for this as well, you can use by themselves. You don't need to use them just for this structure. They will do as they say. They generate particles. So you can place them in the world, and you can set up a little particle generator, which looks pretty cool. Oh, I didn't mean to come here. Wrong place. Yeah. If you ever used Ars Magica has particle generators as well. They work very much the same as that. The only thing that's different is you can change the elevation and the direction of the particles inside the block, which is kind of cool, I guess. So here we go. So let's get this show on the road. Now, first thing we're going to need is our energy core, which is going to go here. And I wonder if that can be spawned on top of. It can, but I don't think anything can spawn on there when it's activated. Now, the other thing we're going to need is you, and these are going to come out 10. Now, these are exactly 10 right here. So I'm thinking of moving these because I didn't take into effect that we're going to need to be able to do it the other way. So don't think I'm going to be having the input and output directly above like that because it's going to look a little bit strange. But hey ho. So we want these guys like this, I believe. Let's hope this works. They're exactly 10 blocks. I think it said 0 to 10 blocks. So we should be able to do it, hopefully. And we want another one here. And we want another one over this way. A little bit further. There we are. And you guys over here. Okay. So, now that we've got that working, how do we... Oh, I'm doing... I'm making it do particles. That's not what I want to be doing. Go away. There we go. All right, let's have a quick read in the book. I think it might be a little bit too far away. Energy storage. 1 to 10 blocks. So the energy core consists of energy core blocks. The center surrounded by 4 particle generators as shown. The distances don't need to be the same. The core is then surrounded by a combination of redstone blocks and draconic blocks. Once the structure is built, simply shift right click on one of the particle generators with an empty hand. Okay, alright. So, shift right click. Doesn't seem to be doing it. That doesn't seem to be doing it. Shift right click. That's just turning the particle generator on. Do your thing. Make things work. It is the energy core. Yeah. Maybe they're too far away. I guess that would kind of make sense. Let's bring them all one closer. I want them to match. So if we bring them a little bit closer. Here we go. Paste you there. And we'll do you here. Cool beans. And same for you. Unable to activate. Invalid configuration. What have I done wrong? Is it because... That would be why. I bet it's because there's stuff touching that. No. Let's see if it's... If I need to get rid of some of these. No. Still doesn't want to work. Okay, let's have a quick look in here. Energy core consists of the energy core block at the center, surrounded by 4 particle generators. As shown, the distances don't need to be the same. The core is then surrounded by a combination of redstone blocks. Once the structure is... That should work. I think. Unless these really are too far away. How many blocks is this? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. I don't know. Alright, I'm going to have a quick play around, guys, and we will be back. Alright, so I've got these guys working now. I have no idea what I did in the first place for them not to work. Because I tried them with the cobblestone, it worked fine. I did a quick client restart, and then I replaced all of the particle generators back on 10 blocks. Now, anyway, obviously it's anywhere between 0 to 10 blocks, but I thought it'd be fun having them further back like this, and it seems like it works now. So if we shift right click on a particle generator, and poof, we can see that we now have ourselves our energy core, yes, charging at 0 to 45.5 million RF. Very nice. Now, I've also taken a little bit of time to play around with a few other things, which I think is going to look pretty cool. I've placed the Tesseracts up here, and I've set channels for them. So this one has power in, and this one has power out, and these are power in and power out of the energy storage. Now, another thing I did is I set up a Tesseract on here, which is the power in to the to this guy, so we can do that. And I've also set another Tesseract up where the Ender Quarry is, and I've gone and removed the magmatic dynamos and stuff. So hopefully we can get the Quarry running off of this by the end of this episode. Now, we're going to use our energy pylons now in our glass. And the reason we've put these further up is because dependent on where you put your energy pylons, depends on where you put your glass. Now, if your energy pylon is above the core, then your glass is going to go below it. If your energy pylon is below the core, your glass is going to go on top of it. So you'll see what I mean here. We're going to place one here, and we're going to put our glass on it. And poof, becomes a little guy like this. And you can see that we now have particles coming from the core into this guy, which means that we're currently pulling power from the core. If I click on it now, you'll see that it changes, and a little bit of power whips off down that way. I think there's a little bit in there at the minute. So now we're sending power into the core. So this is going to be our power in. So we want to make sure that power is coming from this into the core, which it is at the minute. Now for this guy over here, we're going to want the opposite, because this is going to be our power out. So we'll have you there, and we'll have you there, and make sure it's the other color, so it currently is. So you can see the little white particles are coming out into here. That means that this is the power out. So anything that we set up to accept power from our core is going to be brought out via this little glowy ball right here. Which is cool. So let's see if this is working. Let's see if we can get some power into it. We're going to turn the reactor on, and we'll see if it wants to play a game. Here we go, turning on, and oh, I can see blue things. That's a good sign. Yeah, there we go. We can see that we have power going into the core, and if we have a look down here, we should see that we're up to 12 million out of 45.5. So obviously, as we add more draconium and more redstone, we can hold more power inside our core, all the way up to trillions of power, which is pretty insane. But we will use that eventually, because there are some things that require a lot of power in this. So I think making it now and spending the draconium, even though it's a little hard to get hold of at the minute, is definitely worth it. But there we go, we've got power going into there, which is great. Now, one thing that I did find with these when I was testing it is even though this is set up to send power, for some reason it doesn't want to send the power from the energy pylon into the Tesseract. So I found that I had to use some of these to do that. So if we do that, and we should see power now coming out. Yeah, there we go. Cool beans. So you can see power coming out of the core now, going into this one, which is sending the power into the Tesseract via this cable, and then it's going to be sending it to our Quarry, which should be working. Hopefully. I think it is. It's using power for something, and the only thing it's connected to is the Quarry, so we should be in a fairly good state there. Let's have a look inside here. We're at 28.9, so it is going up a little bit slower, but that's because we're sending a load of RF into our Quarry at the minute. So let's go over and see if it's actually doing its thing. It should be, hopefully, seeing as we're sending power. Otherwise, that power is going into the void, which is not a good thing. Alright, let's go have a little looky-see. What's going to be the best way to tell if the power's going in there? I guess we could look at the output. Let's go to here. You can see that I've removed all these and we have the power in. And if we have a look in here, we should see... Yeah, there we go. Look, we can see Netherrack and all sorts of random gubbins going in there. We've got a few upgrades and some item filters and things to speed it up. And that's all going in there and getting deleted, where we have some of the items going in here. So the Quarry is running perfectly fine, and that's coming from our Tesseract, which is on our power out of cube, or power out of the energy storage area, and being sent into our Quarry. So yeah, it works. Brilliant. Nice. And we've got our ender tank right here. Takes years to break though, so I'm just going to leave it there. But I'm pretty cool about that. I like it. I think it looks nice. I think it looks funky, and it's definitely doing the trick. Now we just need to sort out the reactor a little bit more so it's a little bit more efficient, because at the minute it's just running as it is. But overall, it seems to be working just fine. We're up to 35 million. As we get more Draconium, we'll increase the size of the core so that we can do that. And obviously, we can have more than just two. We don't have to have one power in, one power out. We can have multiple power ins and a couple power outs, or loads of power outs and one power in. It's really however you want to put it. But the main thing, which you can see here, is, like I said, you need to make sure that the glass is placed dependent on where your pylon is. It does explain this inside the tablet, though. If we have a quick look inside here and we go to energy storage and we go on to where is it? I think it's a little bit further on. Yeah, here we go. To add and remove energy from the core, you need to place energy pylons within 15 blocks of the core. To activate the pylon, place a glass block either above or below it, depending on whether the pylon is placed below or above the core. And you can see here it's got a little diagram, I think. Yeah, here it is. So if the core is here and you place the pylon directly aligned to it, then you can do it either way, above or below. But if you go any higher than that or lower than that, you need to make sure that you place the glass corresponding to where your core is, and then it will be able to work. So nice. I would like to have a little bit more Draconium so that we can make ourselves some of the tools, but at the minute we haven't got that. I have got a core and 8 pieces of Draconium, but I don't think that's enough to make any of the tools just yet. Plus, I'd like to get into the Awakening so that we can make the Awakened Draconium, and then we can make some of the best tools and some of the best armor, which is very, very funky indeed. We'll probably do that in the next episode, actually. I might let the end of Quarry run for a bit, hopefully get ourselves some more Draconium, and then we can look into making some of the tools and the armors in the next episode. Cool beans. He's not actually sending much anymore. I guess the Quarry is doesn't need a great deal at the minute. Cool. Alright guys, I'll see you soon for another episode. Have yourself a great day. Have a good one as always. Remember, if you want to add any of the questions to the 50k Q&A, then put them in the comment section. But if you already have on any of the other videos, then please refrain from doing that. I'll see you guys soon. Have yourself a good one, and bye-bye.